So again, I'll just say, I think you all know, my name is Matt Meyer. I am based in New York City. It continues to be a great honor and pleasure to serve as Secretary General. I see my Co-Secretary General, Christina Tieno of Kenya, is not with us. We know she's not been with us for a couple of meetings. She is fine, but we understand that she is often traveling throughout Kenya in areas that are sometimes difficult for her to reach in terms of internet. And she has remained active in certain parts of our work. She's especially remained active in the Publications Committee and as co-editor of the IPRA newsletter. But we also recognize that given the work she did focusing on the conference, the last conference, which in part was held in person in Nairobi, that she's allowing us to shift emphasis to the upcoming conference in 2023 and work in the Americas. So I'm not going to give much of more of a report because a lot of the work I've done for IPRA is embedded in the work of the subcommittees. I'll just say again, it remains an honor and a pleasure to be at the helm of an organization that is growing in all manner of exciting ways. And let me pass it along. And I guess maybe if we could just name someone and pass it, that would be great. And I'm going to pass it to former Secretary General and my esteemed colleague from Mexico, Ursula. Please introduce yourself and give a brief check-in on how things are from your end of the world.
Many thanks, Matt. Great to see you all. I'm happy. The IPRA all over the world, it's really very interesting. I'm Ursula Oswald Spring from Mexico, and for the moment, I'm still at the National University of Mexico, where we, together with Esteban Ramos and with Marita Munoz, have organized the Climate Congress. I think she or he will report on this issue, which was crucial. And we had also finally done together, and here we have also Diana, who was involved in this process, and Paolo, final closuring process, which would be interesting to share with all IPRA members. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's go to the Executive Committee. Just so those of you who may be unaware, we'll have some spotlight onto those people who help in the day-to-day. And let's start with our two newest Executive Committee members who are just starting their first terms this last year. We'll begin with our European member, Vidar. Please take it away next.
Hello, Vidar Online from Norway. I live up in the Arctic, in the northernmost part of Norway. It's actually higher, more northern than Alaska. We have a Center for Peace Studies here at the University of the Norwegian Arctic University, of which I was one of the founding members. I have been working in IPRA for about 10 years now, also been a member of the board there. And then suddenly I was elected to the IPRA Council and then IPRA Executive. I was only half aware of it. Now this fall, I'm working as I don't know what the word is, editor in charge of 2 issues of the Journal of Peace Education, which is one of the main fields I've been working in. I am a member of the faculty of the Department of Education at my university. 2 issues of the Journal of Peace Education on migration, cultural encounters, and education. So far, I've received 5 or 6 articles. The hope is to get at least 10 that are accepted by peer reviews. So that's briefly what I'm doing and have been doing for the last month. Unfortunately, I am a little bit reduced because of a tendinitis in my arm. So maybe maybe I'm not as efficient as I should be.
Thank you, Vidar. And our other new member of the executive, Marcela.
Hi, everyone. Morning. Hola, Matt. Okay, so my name is Diana Marcela Agudelo. I hope you can all listen. I will turn off my video because signal is not quite okay. I live in a city called Quibdó in Colombia. So, well, we're here, as Ursula mentioned before, we're here with several colleagues from CLAIP. We just finished on like a month ago already our regional congress, and we prepared actually for you a little reading or our manifesto of ending, of closure of this congress, because we were quite satisfied with what happened, not just because of the reception among people, but because all the kind of interactions we were looking for, the kind of work we could bring apart. So I don't know, Esteban, if you want us to read the piece, maybe just starting now, or do you want to do it later on?
Let's do it a little bit later after we get some of the go-rounds and introductions done, and we can get
All right.
the regional associations. Anything else you want to say about things locally in Colombia, etc.?
Oh, it's been a rough year. It continues to be complicated in many ways. We have a president election next year, so expecting couple of months of nonsense politically, and then a lot of manifestations on the streets, but we'll see. COVID seems to be acting strangely because it was really hard on this area, but vaccines are, I'm not sure about the percentage, but I think it's quite okay, but I'm not sure about what's going to happen with the new kind of virus that we're seeing because of Delta. And then what else? I don't know. No, we were just celebrating this week, the Peace Week, but then, well, Colombia is a quite contradictory place. So we were just having this manifestation yesterday in this city, and they killed some young guy in the middle of the street. So yeah, I don't know what to tell you, because for one side, people and the government is claiming to keep up with the peace agreements, but in the other hand, we are seeing, well, exactly the opposite. So it's complicated, yeah. Hopefully I will bring some better news from Colombia in the near future, hopefully. We have, though, a presidential candidate that is an Afro-Colombian woman that might be a hopeful path for our country, but I'm not sure whether she's going to make it as candidate first, and then whether if she's going to make it to the presidency, but we'll see.
Thank you, and yes, our love and wishes. Difficult situation. Let's go to our African member of the executive, Steve Amoa from Ghana. Steve, can you go next?
Hello, good afternoon from Ghana to everyone.
Hello.
Yeah,
I
I hope you can Can you hear me now?
We can indeed.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much. There is much going on in Africa. Hello. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sorry, go
Hello.
ahead. I had to mute another participant, but go ahead, Steve.
Okay. All right, thank you. Yeah, there's so much going on in Ghana and especially in West Africa. I hope you heard about this coup in Guinea. And when that happened in the West Coast of Africa, it has a lot of implication for the rest of Africa. Just as the ECOWAS, that's the Economic Community of Countries in West Africa, kicking speaking strongly against this coup. The Guineans themselves tend to like it. But all said and done, it's still peaceful. The leaders are still trying to bring peace to the area by trying to bring the opinion leaders to a table and come out with a solution. But specifically in Ghana, our president happened to be the chairman of ECOWAS. So when this incident happened, there have been a lot of meetings surrounding this. But all said and done, it's not so very precarious as we see for as I will say for the sub-region. Ghana specifically, we just concluded our population housing census, and which I play a very prominent role in it. And I should say has taken a lot of my time. I've not been able to make myself available to participate in most of the meetings. As I speak to you now, we are doing what is called a post-enumeration census, where after the main census, we select some areas to actually check and validate whether the work was really done. So now I'm in the northwestern part of our country, very in the middle of some forest reserves in a very small community village. And we are trying to do this exercise there. We have just arrived at one of the areas. We will be spending the evening here. And so that's it. And personally, as a statistician and a data miner, this information is so much important to us, and it will set a lot of agenda for the country as a whole, analyzing what is going to happen, and then using the data effectively to guide our development as a country. So far, in a nutshell, this is what I'll say is happening in Ghana and myself. And I think I'll pause it here and see and hand it over to Maya. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. Thank you. Let's go next to our Asia Pacific Executive Committee member, Shri. It's all yours.
Good morning from Illinois to all of you. Wish you are all fine. I am now, this is my third month in the US, and I will be here until the end of the year as Fulbright visiting scholars. And I'm very happy today because I can see you all in this meeting. I do not have an update, but my name is Rina Rianti. I'm from the Indonesian Institute of Sciences. But currently, just last, the 1st of September, my office is, the name of my office is new. Now we have no longer Indonesian Institute of Sciences, but the Indonesian Research and Innovation Body. So we are merging four research institutes in our country, and we are under new structure and also new authorities. That's why I was really thinking that this is also new to me to adjust with new structure. That's all that I could update, but I do hope that the COVID things is end up soon, so we could meet in person. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. And I see that our final executive committee member from North America, Wilma Lavin, who's been very active, is not yet on the call. So we'll pass by and we'll say that since Sri from Asia Pacific is actually in North America on fellowship now, we'll have her do both. Let's shift now to the elected members of council. Let's look at the other members from Asia Pacific. We have Louis Cheng from China, whose background looks like he's on one of the more balmy beaches of China. Louis, please, you go next.
Hi, greetings from Nanjing, China. Nanjing is the capital of Asian China, very close to Shanghai. By train, first train from Nanjing to Beijing, and it's 3 hours. So, and usually I visit Nanjing, but I promised some friend here to visit Nanjing, but because the pandemic, it couldn't happen. But I'm always waiting here of you to visit Nanjing sometime in future. I'm professor for history, but my mission is introduce peace studies into China nearly 20 years. This is my main job. Okay, so recent years, we make a little bit progress about peace education, peace studies in China. For example, we make, how to say, Nanjing to be the first international city for peace. Depends on this platform, we make cooperation, UNESCO, also local government, we make Nanjing Peace Forum from 2020. So around October 24 is International Day, United Nations Day, October 24. Mattis also welcome to give a keynote speech last year in 2020. So this year we will the second time to open this kind of forum, Nanjing Peace Forum. Yeah, so it's very good in cooperation with a lot of different cities around the world. So we want this kind of platform to share the cultural peace. Also this year, I'm the professor for history at Nanjing University, but I'm also the chairholder of UNESCO Chair on Peace Studies. So this year, our chair, UNESCO Chair, to cooperation with the middle school in Nanjing, we opened 2 courses about the peace education in middle school, focus on the peace education of the cultural peace. So this is the first, this kind of peace education in the middle school in China. Also today, we just finished a conference. The conference topic is peace education in Northeast Asia. The participants from Japan, Korea, Mongolia, also China. So we focus on peace education, but from different countries of Northeast Asia. Then we will publish a book about peace education in Northeast Asia or Northeast Asia. You know, this region, a lot of conflict in the history. So we want to use this way to cooperate with each other. So we have a lot of things to do, especially cooperation with IPRA. So many thanks all of you, especially IPRA. When I think about 15 or maybe 16 years ago, my first time is financial support by IPRA. I participate in IPRA conference in several countries. Then I can have an opportunity to learn something about peace education. Then I make a decision, I should introduce peace studies into China. So thank you very much. That's all.
Wonderful, thank you. And the final elected council member from Asia Pacific, Rajiv. There is one other member, Josie Gardner, who I believe did write in that she cannot make it today. So our final representative from Asia Pacific of the elected council members, Rajiv, it's all yours.
Thank you, Matt. Also, thank you, Liu Cheng, like just narrating how you are spreading about peace education in China. So I am also like, I'm Rajiv Timal Sinha. So I'm Assistant Professor of Conflict, Peace and Development Studies at Tribhuvan University. So I'm based in Kathmandu. When I'm sharing now my roses and thorns, like at this month, I am part of one peace research project called Mobile Arts for Peace. So we are almost end of the first year for that project. So we are planning for the closure event on the International Peace Day. So it is collaborative project between 5 countries. So Rwanda, Kyrgyzstan, Nepal, Indonesia, and UK. So we are just planning for some work there. At the same time, this year in our master's program, we are trying to introduce new subject called peace education. So I am also leading that curriculum designing team. So that's also one update from my side, what's happening in Nepal. And at the same time, this year also we were successful to getting a small grant to form global network of global South network of the people working in education. So that's also one achievement recently happened. Also, I got IPRA Foundation Peace Research grant. So I'm also working for that part a little bit. So these are the updates from my side. When we talk about the Nepal, recently we went through some political changes here, the government changes. And at the same time, there is some big protest movements going on about one controversial US aid called MCC in Nepal. So there are some pros and cons groups here. And recently some US MCC team is visiting here, but that is being very controversial in country, how US trying to fund certain projects in Nepal, and there are a lot of people against it. And what the leadership are just trying to get that aid here. So that's more controversial thing happened in country for last many years. And interestingly, the Afghan and the Myanmar crisis has some effect. There are some our friends starting coming as a refugee, and we are trying to welcome them, trying to help them here also. So there are more than 300 Rohingya refugees arriving from Myanmar through via India in Nepal. And also this week, there are a few Afghan friends working for some organization. They are coming through some organization, so trying to support them here. And there are some updates. And at the same time, finally, I think I'm excited that there are like a few other council members also. We are having regular conversation with like Mariate, Paulo is here, Andreas, he couldn't make it today, and also Polly Walker. So I think we were 4 or 5 people having long conversation about to forming Arts for Peace Commission, working commission. So we have a big group already there, trying to work, collaborating from Latin America, North America, Asia, also Africa. So that's also exciting bit. So today also, thanks Matt for bringing that idea like at the beginning. So I think that's from my side. Thank you.
Wonderful. As we proceed, I also want to invite folks, if you are the sole representative of your commission and also an elected council member, please go ahead as Rajiv did and tell about your commission. If there are other commission leaders here, we'll wait and we'll go through the elected council and then hear from commission reports. Let's move to Latin America now. As Rajiv said, one of our Latin American colleagues, Andrea, wrote in that she could not be with us. She did not write in the exact reason, but I don't think this is the reason, but we can recognize that amongst other things in her life in Colombia, she got married just recently, just a couple of months ago. She actually got married to the vice president of one of our collegial associations. Peter Cousins is the vice president of the International Fellowship of Reconciliation. So we're going to consider that a coalition marriage. And I believe, amazingly, when they were going on honeymoon, they bumped into Diana Marcella at the airport, because I saw photos of the 3 of them. So it was a very fun affair. The other members of the Latin American elected representatives are here. So Pablo, let's hear from you next.
Hi, everywhere. I am a serious guy from Brazil, because Brazil is a serial country in the world, because Bozo is a great clown in Brazil. Then is this stupid guy. Then I don't know why I'm Brazilian, and it's very terrible at that moment, because in the Independence Day, the president moved people to make a revolution about dictatorship. I don't know. I don't understand nothing. After that, they made a kind of a card for the people asking pardon, because is not really. Then I don't know, because I think I'm a clown, but the president Bozo is more clown than I. Then I I think I don't understand nothing in Brazil, but I love I make some arts with this theater of oppressed. I work as theater of oppressed and a clown in public schools, primary schools, fundamental schools. And I love children, and I love arts, and I make a lot of kind of puppets, and I love stay here. This is for you.
Right back at you, our very serious clown from Brazil. We also have Esteban. Please take it away.
Hi, hi everybody. I'm Esteban Ramos. I am in Honduras, National University of Honduras, in the unity that is called Peace Research Unit of the Research in Peace, Democracy and Security Institute in the National University of Honduras. And these last months we've been working hard to organize with among Ursula, Marité, and Clive colleagues, Marcela, Paulo, etc. Our conference, our regional conference, and we are very happy with the results that we get. There were like 250 papers presented in the conference from more than 25 countries of the region, also from Europe, also some Indian people present some paper, also some African countries also present something. And it was amazing because we have also 3,800 inscriptions from all around Latin America. So it was a big conference, and we are very, very happy because of that. Not just, as Marcela said, because it was big, but also, and I think that's most important, because it was very interesting. We had a lot of interesting proposals, innovative proposals in peace education, innovative proposals in gender, in sustainability, in participatory democracy, also some interesting papers about peace theories, and we are very happy because in Latin America we are getting like we are being like in a very nice moment for our discipline, with a lot of research, lot of researchers, and quite amazing proposals, even methodology and theory proposals about peace. And I think that's very interesting. And also because we live in a very contradictive region, a very inequitative region, very violent region, but also we have lots of spectacular movements peace and politic transformation with non-violence guided. So that's we try to build a big network to that conference, and I think maybe this conference is getting us the power we need to develop more work together, no? Because we had like 67 different organizations, social movements, working groups, research institutes from all Latin America, which have been sponsoring the conference, not giving money, but making papers, working in communication with the conference, etc. And I think that kind of work is very important to do, because we need to build bridges. We need to work together. We need to develop a movement in Latin America, which it exists, but we can, as CLIPE, being part of that movement and make it stronger with our also conception and with our discipline guided things. No, so we would like maybe we can read it now. I don't know if Matt Meyer it's okay for you. Where the Congress finished. By the way, I'm going to put you all the programmation of the conference, because it is open, absolutely open. So you can go to all the videos which are in YouTube. Going to put here in the chat. You can click in the programmation and you can then check all the conferences in the program all the days, and you can watch the videos. Obviously, it's in Spanish, but also in Brazilian. But if you understand Spanish or Portuguese, you can follow it. And we prepare a declaration. I don't know how to say that in English, like a final manifesto of the conference. So maybe we can read it now, Matt, if it's okay, or later. It's okay now.
It's up to you, because we do have the ex officio member of CLIPE here. So when we finish the official the elected voting members, we'll get to Marité. So it's up to you or Marité who wants to read it. But if you want to read it, go ahead.
Okay, we can read it together. So I read one point, and Marcela the next one, and maybe Marité the third one, and it's 9 points declaration. So it's gonna be fast.
All right. So
okay.
let me continue the go around, and we'll come back to you as we do the regional associations after Marité introduces herself. Let's actually quickly go to North America. By the way, I did want to do this. Sorry, let's see if I can do this quickly. Yeah. So
Marité, you missed Marité?
No, I didn't miss her. No, we're coming to her in a moment. But I wanted to this is the screen. There's many different amazing graphics that also come out of CLIPE and their growth. So this is what you'll get when you go to the program. So yes, I'm going to go through the elected members of council. Marité is on as ex officio representative CLIPE. So we're going to come back to her in a moment. But going to North America now, I see that Wim Lavin, who was with us at a meeting yesterday, is not here today. That Maria Schubert emailed that she likely was not going to be able to get on today. And I know that Margot Tamez, our Indigenous representative from the way north British Columbia in Canada, has had to deal with relocation issues. She was recently relocated because of some local crises in her region. So we have only one of our elected members here, that's Roy Tamashiro. I did also notice, though, and want to call to our attention that just in the last couple of days, despite all of the other issues, oh, wait a second, hold on. I may have trouble doing this. let me see if I can figure this little thing I wanted to do. All right, because I did notice that. There we go. That Margot has a highly noted new book out that just came out in the last couple of days, Farther Genocide, which is another of her works of poetry, but like all of her work, there's a mix of poetry and history. And I believe there'll be a spotlight on this book in the next issue of the IPRA newsletter, but kudos to her through all of this difficult time for being able to produce a new piece of work. Roy, take it away.
Sure. Hi. This is Roy Tamashiro, and I'm based in St. Louis, Missouri. And most of the work for IPRA lately has been on the newsletter. And Matt mentioned Margot's the announcement of Margot's tree. And it's really been a wonderful. We have in the upcoming issue, we have representative articles from each of the continents this time, which is really marvelous. And some of the current issues and events around the world are being highlighted. So I'm really happy to announce that, and also pleased to be working with our co-editors. Since the last meeting, Maria Schubert and Janine Joyce have joined us, and that's been, along with Christofolo, and of course the co-secretary generals are on the editorial team. It's been wonderful working with them. That's all I have.
Thank you. And I'll just, because the other representatives, including our liaison, Polly Walker from North America, is not yet on it. I'll just do one other share screen, which is to say, I hope that one of the reasons they're not on today's call is that they're busy working on this PGSA conference coming up in just a few weeks' time. And we hope that we'll hear reports from them next time about that work. I'm also going to know, as we flow through the continents, that that Vidar, who already went, is our only of the elected council members from Europe. We have other Europeans, of course, with us. We'll swing around to in a minute. Vidar, do you quickly want to say anything very, very briefly about IPRA and the regional association work?
Just 2 seconds, please. I could also perhaps share, can I? I'll try. See if I can do this. Host, stay away. Okay.
You can now, go ahead.
Yeah, that's all right. IPRA is having its next conference. It has been moved to a later point in time several times. It's having its next conference next year, next spring. But I'm not a member of the organizing committee there. So for the time being, they're just waiting for papers. And perhaps you, Olga, can say more about that. I don't know. That's the main thing that's actually happening in IPRA right now. We have been much prevented by the COVID problem, even in Europe, and things have been delayed. Yes. And May 22 is our conference, and I could, of course, share a link directly to that page, so you can have a look at it there. And of course, you're all very welcome. Come there, present papers, or just participate. Yep.
Yeah, Excellent. So so do share that link, and we look forward to maybe
now.
seeing you in person there.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Let's proceed finally, last but most certainly not least, to Africa. I don't see Jande or Marion, but we have our dear Kenyan colleague Charles. So please report yourself, but also because I believe you're the only IPRA rep in addition to Stephen, please do a little reporting about IPRA as well. Charles, take it away.
Okay, thanks, Prof. I'm sorry that I came late. I had a small emergency and I had to travel, but I made sure that I attend this meeting. I'm grateful for having you people. I'm Dr. Charles Wasike. I'm based in Nairobi. I'm a doctor of financial economics. And I just want to give an update on IPRA. We are having a conference sometime in September next year in South Sudan, Juba. We've actually had some meetings, around 3 of them, and put together a team that's working on the modalities. Actually, as I speak, we've had some responses, people bringing in abstracts, 2 of them, and we are so excited that it's going to be a good time for us. And what I just want to say is that I welcome all of you to come and contribute in one way or another. And basically, I also give a link to actually to showcase what we are doing. But generally in Africa, the regional association is vibrant, and we are focused on delivering a very good conference. And right now, we are here to have another meeting, maybe just to evaluate what we've so far done and the progress, and we report back to the council. Yeah, thank you, Professor Matt.
Thank you, Dr. Charles. We're excited about Juba in 2022, and that is also going to be not exactly a collaboration, but around the same time period, in the same 2-week period in Juba, South Sudan, the International Fellowship of Reconciliation is also having a major international conference there. And the key South Sudanese leaders are affiliated with both IPRA and IFOR. So that'll be another point of collaboration and a very special one in South Sudan at that time. So we're all very excited. I believe that concludes. Sorry, Charles. Were you finished?
No, it's okay. I'll just respond with what you have finished. Thank you.
Thank you. I believe that concludes the go-around for the elected council members. So without further ado, let's go to our ex officio members. Let's begin with the regional associations. And we have been waiting to hear from Marite and also from the CLAIP manifesto, the declaration at the close. So Marite, first begin with the personal, and then when you're done, we'll let you guys do your amazing declaration from your conference.
Yes, hello, good morning, good afternoon for everybody. I'm very pleased to see you again. Many of you are a friend of mine. Well, I live in the northwest of Argentina in a little province called Tucumán, and I work, and now I am in my office. I work as a judge of peace in a little community where I pretend to establish social peace between the people living here. And I teach in a university here, and I have a peace investigation center. That's all from me. As Esteban told you minutes ago, we had a wonderful Congress it was virtually. We have nearly 3,800 people attending the Congress. It was very successful. I'm very proud. I'm very proud of my co-secretary, Esteban Ramos. I'm very proud with our partners in this doing, that Paulo, Marcela, Ursula, and many others. We do not have them here, but many young people worked with us, and it is a great triumph, I think. So, Esteban, we can read the conclusions of our Congress.
Okay,
Something
we'll do it
after the
collectively.
conclusions.
We'll do it collectively. So I'm gonna start.
Yes.
Then it's gonna go Marcela and then Marité. So in order to try to do it as nice as possible. Sorry for our English pronunciation, but what can we do, no? Es lo que hay. So, final declaration, Latin American Congress of Peace Research, a new normality is possible and necessary. August 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, 2021. First, 1, the successful presentation of more than 250 papers, short communication, books, and artistic interventions in the framework of the 12th Latin American Congress of Peace Research shows that peace strongly beats in Latin America in spite of the direct structural and cultural violences. There is no doubt that in Latin America, the discipline of peace and conflict studies is going through a particularly stimulating stage. The contributions made to the theoretical and methodological corpus of the discipline by the concepts of engendered and sustainable peace, territorial peace, decolonial peace, or transformative and participatory peace are a good example of this, as they constitute valid epistemological alternatives to the hegemonic paradigm of liberal peace.
Marcela. I continue, or Paulo? I continue. Second, the social, political, and economic crisis aggravated by the COVID-19 pandemic urges the academy, social movements, and the entire citizenry to bravely and decisively commit to the collective construction of proposals that radically transform our relationship with Mother Earth. It is urgent to move from the exploitation of natural resources to the respect, care, and protection of natural resources.
3, it is necessary to overcome the capitalist and colonial paradigm based on exacerbated production, capital accumulation, financial speculation, and profit maximization, betting on the growth and alternative economies that resume the logic of care, focused on the attention to human needs and environmental sustainability, producing on a small scale and recovering artisanal and peasant work cannot wait.
4, putting an end to patriarchal logic and the privileges of men over women becomes a moral imperative for peace.
5, in the face of the project of war and death that seeks to impose itself on the continent through the power of institutionalized violence, dialogue, love, and empathy are affirmed. Disobedience, non-violent direct action, autonomy, mutual support, and the articulation of self-organized networks are vindicated.
6, in the face of the deterioration of the representative democratic system, state corruption, and the use of legal power as an instrument of protection of the elites and their particular interests, a paradigm shift is proposed. The development of a direct, participatory, and deliberative democracy that promotes the collective construction of proposals and policies from the territories to address social problems and needs.
7. In the face of the rigidity, uniformity, and verticality of formal education, an effective, liberating, participatory, and transformative education is proposed, capable of fostering the second reflection necessary to promote the creation of new realities and other possible worlds.
8. In the face of health as a business and based on illness, an integral health is proposed as the axis of life and well-being.
9. In the face of the return to the old normality, the pacifist practices of Latin American territories and communities are vindicated as the threads with which to weave a new normality that restores the value of life, that recognizes diversity as an inherent human characteristic and eliminates any form of domination and discrimination, recognizes the value of diverse memories, intersubjectivity, and singularity, and enhance diverse ancestral and emerging knowledge. A new normality is possible, and we build it together by making the path as we walk. End.
Magnifico. Gracias, muchas gracias. And thank you for presenting that to us in English, which is not the language it was written in, but quite lyrical. We always expect a chorus from our Latin American colleagues, and you do not disappoint. Very amazing. Please do share with us the links to where we can see it in English or Spanish or Portuguese. And we invite the rest of you to translate it to Hindi or to Arabic or to any Chinese, any of the other languages that would benefit from a statement that obviously is not about Latin America only, but really is about the way we need to rebuild the world. So thank you very much, and do send us those links. We see we have some new people who have joined us, some North Americans or people living in North America. We're looping around, and we actually got through the elected council members, but we'll get back to you, Jande and Wim and Polly as well. Welcome. But let's continue doing some of the regional association overviews, and we have the Co-Secretary General of the Asian Pacific Regional Association. Manish, will you go next, please? Somehow you seem to be on mute, or we're having trouble hearing you. Huh?
Am I audible right now?
Better.
Yeah. Good evening to those who are having evening or afternoon, or good morning to those who are having just morning time there at their respective places. As for our IPRA conference of Asia Pacific Peace Research Association is due in this very year, though because of COVID situation and because of the Co-Secretary General, Dr. She is not in Asia, and there is a change in our portfolio also. So we have to stick, or we have to move the conference towards December or towards January 2022. So hopefully within 10 to 15 days, you will be able to hear from our side that we are going to have our IPRA conference very soon. And as there is a change in the political situation in Afghanistan and on this side, so we are going to include those incidents also, the kind of political instability towards Afghanistan and Taliban and in Pakistan also. So, so we would like to add the new topics also, apart from the COVID situation and as the conflict situations which are emerging from all such issues. The other idea we would like to introduce this time is that we would like to honor our new members, those who are young, not from their heart side, but from their age perspective, that we would like to give some kind of fellowship or some kind of
incentive so that they can come with good kind of research, not of their respective places, but they can take the Asia Pacific region as such, so that we can bring out the kind of new volume for the researchers. And apart from that, the proceeding of the past IPRA conference are still, some are not included in the part one. So we would be coming with the second part of the proceeding of the past IPRA conference also. So these things are in pipeline, and I think within 10 to 15 days time, you will be able to hear from us. Thank you for giving me the time. Thank you.
Wonderful, thank you. Let's maybe go back to the two elected members of council that have joined us. Jande from Sierra Leone, please take it away. Jande Veronica, can you connect and do a brief introduction of how you're doing? Okay, I don't know if our dear Jande Veronica Dembi from Sierra Leone can connect at this moment. Wim, why don't you hop on and just briefly do a little introduction of yourself.
I'm Wim Lappin from, normally I'm in Ohio, today I'm in California, so it's a bit earlier. I don't really have much to report back. I was in touch with some of our members around the world, in Nepal and so forth, just trying to get caught up, but all's pretty good here. I'm doing the Peace Chronicle magazine for the Peace and Justice Studies Association. That's going well. We can put our upcoming events and announcements there, get broader collaboration with our Peace and Justice Studies Association affiliate. But I'm listening, and I'm liking what I'm hearing today. Thanks, everyone.
And Wim, please link us to the latest issues of the Peace Chronicle. I believe the latest issue is focused on youth and had a truly internationalist perspective. So we'd love to be able to see that. Let's continue the go around with some of the regional associations. And oh no, I think maybe we are, okay, no, Polly has joined us, and though we did give a little brief update of the regional association PGSA and shared screen with the upcoming conference, maybe you can give a brief personal introduction, say anything about PGSA you think is relevant, and then we will come back to you later in the agenda for that piece on Indigenous peoples, which we want to spend some more time on.
Okay, thanks for that. And I apologize for being late. I think my calendar, my Outlook calendar has brain fog. I am really excited about the PJSA conference, and I think particularly because it speaks to the issues that we're facing with COVID, with COVID making more transparent the health equities that people are facing around the world, and appreciate PJSA's attention to that topic, as well as the related topics of social justice and global climate change. So I think we're, on the heartbeat of many of the issues that are exacerbating injustice and violence around the world. I think, again, the very situation that sparked that topic may result in a number of people not being able to attend the conference in person, but there are some sessions each day that are virtual. So people whose health conditions prevent them from attending will be able to at least get some of the hear presentations on some of the central themes of the conference.
Polly, I think it's incumbent upon me to insist that you share a shift in your personal professional life from one association we've associated with you to another that you're the director of that we should begin to associate with you. So are you willing to share that shift?
Yes, I stepped down from Juniata College, not because I was ready to retire, but because COVID made it very challenging to do the kind of work I wanted to do. And because they offered a package for those of us who were over a certain age to step down from Juniata. So I accepted that with the sense that it would support my moving more deeply into other work that I have been involved in. I'm the chair of the Indigenous Education Institute, which is an international organization, but focused here in the United States. And I would say in terms of peace studies, its major themes are redressing the epistemic violence towards Indigenous peoples by lifting up Indigenous science and supporting collaborations that center Indigenous science alongside of Western science. I'm also sit on the board of directors of the Peace and Conflict Studies Institute of Australia. And thank you, Matt. Yes, let me just say that we have upcoming a very exciting webinar by the Native American astronaut. You can find that on this website if you would like to sign up for that. But during COVID, we instituted a whole series of webinars where you can see the work that we're doing to disrupt that epistemic violence. Thanks, Matt. I appreciate that. Also, one of the directors of the Peace and Conflict Studies Institute of Australia. I don't know if you can find that website, but we have been doing work there for the last 6 years on community dialogues and peace building, particularly in relationship to the referendum on independence there.
Thank you, Polly. And with your permission, Linda, I'm going to hold off on asking you to introduce yourself as our last ex officio standing member, because Linda is going to segue into the next agenda item where we also introduce Rudolph and Karama. But before we do that, we have several, we're very excited to have several leading people in our commissions. So let us go to the ex officio representatives representing various commissions. I think we want to say, by way of spotlight and apology, members, representatives, conveners of IPRA's commissions are always welcome at council meetings. And we haven't always emphasized that enough, and we haven't always invited you enough. So we want to make some space here for you to introduce yourself and speak of the work of the commissions, and not have this be the last time, but just a new era where we're always really looking at and looking to strengthen and build and support and learn about the work of the commissions. So Olga, let's start with you, Peace Education. Please introduce yourself as well as the commission.
Okay, thank you. Do you hear me?
Yes, we do.
Okay, okay, great. My greetings to everybody, and I'm very glad to see Ursula and Roy, of course, you, Matt, and Vidar, many others. I'm very much impressed by this work by our Chinese Cheng, because I remember that was really great work was done on peace education in China. Really great, thank you. So I represent two organizations, Russian Academy of Sciences and Linguistic University, Moscow State Linguistic University. So these two divisions, they are of course connected, but they are different in terms that we do not have research, peace research, or any other research within university as it is in the Russian Academy of Sciences. So the major information is the forthcoming Peace Education Conference in Moscow as anniversary, the 50th anniversary of peace education. I hope that everybody have received this newsletter information both on IPRA and IPRA information as well. I send also to Roy this link with the information on that. So we have very interesting sections by with the assistance of Sikander, Mehdi, and also Roy. So I hope it will be interesting. We have very interesting participants from the Caucasus. I hope all of them will be present, from Armenia, Georgia, and we also have interesting proposals from our junior group, which will have a special session on secession in different parts of the world and peace education as a part of some kind of to prevent violence within this secession movements. And we have even a representative from Afghanistan who is who is our PhD student. So I hope that it will be interesting for everybody, and some participants from Central Asia, because this is the most serious problem of the forthcoming situation in Central Asia, dealing with Afghanistan, with this drugs, with the terrorists and everybody. I must also mention that in Russia, we have a very tension period, as we can call it, because this is the period of transition. And nobody knows what will happen within several months, really, because some people will have different appeals to revolution, even to revolution of some kind of. We will have the transit of presidency. So this is very, very important. But I hope that we shall succeed with our peace conference. I talk with Johan Galtung. I would like to have his greetings in one or another form. I don't think that he will present something, but anyhow, he will be as a participant, as a listener, or anyhow. Because I have this idea to arrange a dialogue between Galtung and Gorbachev. But unfortunately, this moment, Gorbachev is very busy with his publications. So I talked to his secretary, but I hope that we can use it in one or another way in the future to organize this dialogue on peace between Gorbachev and Johan Galtung. I think that will be much interest. So we're in this period of very active work with the organizing conference, and also I would like to invite everybody to take part in it, and that will be, of course, online virtual conference, and we have already the link on YouTube, or we can also use this link as for those who would like to participate as listeners. So I can send to everybody these two links, a link for participants and a link for listeners as well. So thank you. I'm open to any questions, to any ideas.
No, thank you, Olga. That's very, very exciting. I'll just add that one thing. In addition to all of that, many things that Olga is involved with and that Peace Education Commission is involved with. We also have begun discussions about a year from now, having a special seminar that IPRA and the Russian organizations that Olga represents, doing a special seminar, an IPRA seminar in Moscow in the fall of 2022. So look forward to that as it develops over the coming months and year. Okay, we have had a very patient Moshish waiting. I'm sorry, Vidar, do you want to add something?
Yeah, I just wanted to add that there is also this fall an upcoming Eurasian Peace Science Conference, where I probably will participate, just for the record. And then, so that I don't forget it, it would be very nice if all the links were gathered. I've tried to open them one by one, but if they were gathered in some place. And finally, so I don't forget it, that we in the executive and the council could send somebody, for example, Matt, just a link to our home site, which could be then a link under our names in the IPRA site, where the organization and the executive, etc., are presented. Simply because this would make also us more in communication with others, and the home site of IPRA would be more interactive. People would use it more actively.
I don't think we need to vote on that. It's a splendid and obviously good idea. Some of you, Manish is already thumbs up and applauding it, and I add my thumbs up as well. I will take responsibility personally for saving the chat and making sure that all of the different pieces in the chat today, the links are put together. And I'd like to ask the executive committee, of which Vidar is a member, to work on compiling just what he suggested, not just for those of us present today, but for all of the commissions and commission co-conveners, and for the council members who are not with us today. So wonderful idea. And Vidar, as a member of the executive, let's you and me help get the executive to implement that idea as soon as possible. Huh? Wonderful. Okay, thank you for that. Moshish, please, it's all yours.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. Yeah, my name is Mojish and I teach media studies in India. And currently I'm in Pune, which is a Western Indian city. So for this meeting, I'm representing Sentence Selvaraj and Media Conflicts and Journalism Commission. And I don't have much to report at this point of time because since my attendance to this meeting was a last minute mistake. Thank you.
Very good to have you with us, and yeah, we will make it less last minute in the future. And I want to just alert to you and to everyone here, because of course we have elected council members and ex officio members who are also deeply involved in commissions, that one of the emphasis, one of the new priorities of the IPRA newsletter, which Roy is the editor-in-chief of, is to spotlight in the written document work of the various commissions. So please make sure, there's no one deadline, it's a rolling deadline. It's not one special issue, it's every issue of the newsletter that we want to spotlight one or another commission. So please make sure that that you gather information, analysis, perspectives that seem important at the moment to your work, and get that to Roy, and it'll be in one of the future issues of the newsletter. My dear brother Stellan Vind again has been waiting for a while. I believe the last commission to report. However, I'm going to ask you to wait for one more, because South Africa has joined us. And of course, South Africa is represented not only by our elected Marion, but Marion is also, of course, one of the conveners of our commission. Marion, we've just been doing a go-round of all of us. You came almost after it was done, but not quite. So if you'd be so kind as to just introduce yourself, say a little bit about how things are going for you locally, and then also you can speak a little bit about the commission that you are a part of. Marion, take it away.
Thank you so much. I'm so sorry I joined late. I had an earlier meeting with the IOC that I just got out now. And yes, it's wonderful to be part of it and seeing everybody, although it's far away. Yes, things have been difficult on our side with the global situation, but we have been quite active, and I look back fondly. Our last meeting was in person when IPRA and IPRA was in Cape Town, joining us at the last conference, and we've taken that further again. So on the 21st, 22nd of September, we from the commission topic of sport and youth, we have again our annual conference where participants will be invited to join And there are different commissions in terms of values, in terms of peace building in schools. We'll send that information to Roy to make participants aware of it. So that's around the corner. It's the second time we're doing it online. And yeah, we hope we have participants from all over. And yeah, just maybe for for people who don't know me, my name is Marion Keim-Lies. I have 3 hats now. I direct the Center for Sports Development, Sports Science and Development at the University of the Western Cape. I also chair Foundation for Sport Development and Peace. And that's the angle in terms of the participation in IPRA. And my passion is really on peace building and education and development using the medium of sport or sport as a tool. And yeah, so that's a little bit about me. So we hope we see you all online. Thank you so much, Matt, and the group. It's wonderful to be here.
Good to have you, Marion. And of course, we know that, in addition to the IPRA newsletter, IPRA has some impressive connections with various publications and other networks. One of our key publication connections is with the Journal of Resistance Studies. So I'm excited finally to get to Stellan, who is one of the founders of the Journal of Resistance Studies and also is one of the co-conveners of one of our commissions. Stellan, take it away.
Hi, everybody. I am glad to be part of this and to see you all. I want to mainly tell that I've been together with other people from IPRA and from PGSA and UPRA working on finding a way that the Journal of Resistance Studies can be more of a place for peace studies and be more integrated, more sustainable for the future. So I'm hoping to be able to bring the journal more accessible, more useful for the peace research community in future. I don't have much to report when it comes to the Nonviolence and Peace Movement Commission, but obviously we are going to do our best for the upcoming conference. I think that's basically me. I'm based in Amherst, Massachusetts, yeah, I think that's it.
And Gothenburg, Sweden. We know you have a thick Amherst, Massachusetts accent, but we can't forget Gothenburg, Sweden as well.
That's true.
Thank you, Stellan. And last but not least, we have obviously a long-standing relationship with the IPRA Foundation. We have the president of that foundation with us. In addition to introducing yourself, Linda, we're asking you also to give a special introduction and will be a segue to the second agenda item on our agenda, and I'll take it away and introduce our fellows. Linda, it's all yours.
Okay, thanks, Matt. And first of all, I want to thank the members for that wonderful declaration. I look forward to seeing that online and being able to share it with our board members. This, as many people have mentioned, COVID has really shaken up our research and peace studies world, but it also provided us this year with a unique opportunity. I have taken part in this IREX Community Solutions Program for 7 years now, and I did it at the university, and the premise of the program was that scholars would come to the United States for about 3 months, and they would be able to stay with a particular institution. Well, this year, because of COVID, they're not coming to the US. Everything is virtual. So this has provided us with a wonderful opportunity because neither the IPRA Foundation or IPRA have permanent offices. We have never been able to take one of these wonderful interns. This year, ironically, has provided us with an opportunity to work with these interns because we all work virtually anyway. So as soon as I found out about this opportunity, I contacted Matt to let him know that IPRA might also be interested in taking some of these fellows. And the IPRA Foundation has a fellow also from Sarajevo. His name is Delmar, and he'll be working with us for this time frame. And I understand that Karama and Rudolph are working with IPRA. So this is just a wonderful opportunity for us to be able to start the process of working with an intern virtually. But I hope it continues after this too. I think it's been successful thus far. And I think it will prove that we can do these things and provide valuable experiences for these interns, even in a virtual environment like this. I think one of the strengths of IPRA and the IPRA Foundation is the fact that we are all used to working virtually. We've done this for so many years and we've been very successful at it. So I'm hoping that this provides an example of how this can be done, and it can provide useful things for the interns and for us. Lastly, I want to point out that most internship programs, people come with very little experience. This community solutions program is completely different. These people come to us with a lot of experience. These people come to us as being successful people in their fields already. And so I think they can really contribute a lot to this work environment and provide us with a lot of ideas. So with that, Matt, I'll turn it back over to you so you can introduce the fellows.
Linda, thank you so much for all you do, for all the IPRA Foundation does, and all we'll do together. And this is just the most recent and in some ways the most presently exciting piece of it, but we look forward to lots of work together. So thanks again. Yes, indeed. It's why we're using the word fellowship and fellow more than intern, because these really are not your typical interns. These are we say mid-career, but really these are fully developed professionals who have made a decision that they want to try something else through connections. The other thing that I think puts us ahead of the game of many of the other host organizations is that in addition to being used to working virtually, we're used to cross-cultural and international communications. Make no mistake about it, this has been a several-month process of first getting accepted as organizations within the fold, then working with the IREX Community Solutions Program, which is funded actually by the US Department of State, which we usually don't accept funds from, but we'll accept assistance from them in this particular very international and progressive endeavor, no strings attached. And then it's a three-part piece where mainly the fellows get leadership training skills. That piece just finished. We work a little bit with the fellows after an interview and communication process. And then the second piece is their intense work with the host organizations, with us. So this is actually the last day of their first week. We've already had some meetings together, and we're going to expand those meetings in the coming weeks. But for the next couple of months, we have two absolutely extraordinary young scholars, activists, organizers. If it's possible, I'd now like to ask Rudolph and Karama to put on your screen so we can see your smiling faces. I'll just say briefly that, oh, I don't know if they can. There's Rudolph and there's Karama. Okay. I'll just say briefly, Karama comes to us from Tunisia, and I'll let her introduce herself, but she's going to mainly be working with us in terms of some marketing issues, social media and media skills, which is one of her fortes. Rudolph comes to us from Cameroon. So yes, please take note that we have two African fellows at this time. So our IPRA leadership here will be working to recruit you guys to stay with us forever and ever in your entire lives. But Rudolph comes to us from Cameroon, actually from the English-speaking part of Cameroon, known by many as Ambazonia. In the midst of a tremendous struggle, Rudolph is a major peacemaker himself, an author, a published poet, and he's going to be working with us on some of the book project, some of the research and writing projects regarding currently colonized peoples. So without further ado, let's have Karama and then Rudolph introduce yourselves and say a few words about anything you want to share with us.
Hello, everyone. I hope that you can hear me well. Yes, can you hear me? Okay, great. So I'm very honored to be here with you today. Thank you for this amazing opportunity. My name is Karama Habli. I'm from Tunisia, from north of Africa. And my background is a little bit, like educational background is a little bit different from the peace studies. I have master's degree in communication and another master's degree in marketing, but my experience in nonprofits and NGOs have been mostly focused on peace building. I've been active in youth engagement for at least 7 years now. I started as a member and leader in the International Youth Organization, ISEC. Basically, we work on peace and fulfillment of humankind potential. We develop leadership of youth through exchange. I myself was an exchange 2 times, one time in Italy as a volunteer, a teacher assistant, and another time in Spain. And I was a vice president in the same organization. I was responsible for the outgoing exchange program where we reach youth and we encourage them to volunteer abroad and to have professional experiences in order to become the better version of who they are, to obviously represent their countries and get to know other cultures. And then recently I've been a leader in American organization, but also we work on the international level, small scale international level, specifically on developing countries. We provide free education, specifically of the English language for people from the developing countries, but we focus on discussions and debates on world issues. So we teach English, but through discussions and debates in order to develop analytical skills of the youth, in order to develop their creative skills, communication skills, to obviously get to know other cultures and get to know other perspectives on things. Also, of course, I've had a lot of experiences in communication and marketing, and that's why I'm here with you today to hopefully help with the social media strategy and get the world to see the great work that you are doing. So yeah, thank you for having me, and I'm very excited to get to know you all.
Thank you so much. We are equally, if not more, excited to have you with us. Rudolph, it's all yours.
Okay, good afternoon from Cameroon. My name is Stan Rudolph Danji, as you on my screen. I am the founder and the current CEO of a local organization called Silver Lining Africa that operates here in the northwest region of Cameroon. We have been encouraging young people on the domains of entrepreneurship, leadership, and peace building, especially with the come of the Anglophone crisis, which has. So at the moment, we are approaching peace building through the promotion of entrepreneurship, especially getting young people to be involved in money-making activities. Young people from the northwest region, especially IDPs, who have been or who left their villages because of the armed conflict between the government forces and the separatist fighters. So we have a couple of businesses which have been established already, especially in the domain of farm entrepreneurship. That is what I do partly. As far as my educational background is concerned, I studied English language. I have a master's in English language studies from the University of the Other One and international master's distinction from the Global Entrepreneurs Institute, Ohio, which I did online. But I am very much passionate about peace, especially with the coming of crisis in my country. There's necessity that many more young people get to be passionate about peace, so that we could eradicate all the struggles here. in the domain of writing, I am a poet. I've been published in an anthology, and of course, I've published a poetry collection, and I've also been involved in other writing. Oh, thank you very much, Professor Mark, for that. I'm also very much interested in writing articles and so on, and I'm sure in the coming weeks, let's say, an article should also be published in relation to the crisis in the Northwest and Southwest region, of course, the poor governance in my country at the moment. So that is it. I will really be happy to work with IPRA, especially towards the book project which is coming up. So I'm certain I still have a lot to learn. I really have a lot to learn from wonderful people that I can see today. And thank you very much, Professor Matt. Thank you very much, IPRA, and also a big thanks to IREX. So maybe there's no respect there for this opportunity. It is an opportunity. Thank you.
So once again, we are so extraordinarily excited to have you with us as well. And I have asked Karama and Rudolph to note their questions. And in the next meeting we're going to have early next week, they'll get to ask me about all of you. We're not going to spend time today for you to ask them questions or show your excitement. But please be aware that through me and through our email and other connections, if you have thoughts, concerns, ideas, Karama and Rudolph are really special, in some ways, staff people for IPRA for the next couple of months, and we're very excited about this work ahead of us. My dears, we have, go ahead, Olga. Yes, indeed.
Yes, please. I would like to apply to Rudolph. You know, Rudolph, I have my PhD student from Cameroon, and I would like to have this connection because we're writing a chapter in the book on a volume on peace education in Cameroon. So that will be great for our communication. Thank you.
Wonderful. And you know, you don't have to have an idea like that now. If an idea comes to you an hour from now or a day from now, communication lines are open, so we can continue conversation even when this meeting closes. Okay, my dears, we are 20 minutes to the close of this meeting, and pretty much almost right on time. We have a couple of items left. My agenda suggested that there be an SG report that look at the working committees. There's going to be a conversation coming up in a moment on the Indigenous peoples statement. And then we're going to hear a report and have a little conversation on the 2023 Trinidad Conference. And you might see we have one other new person that just joined us, Hakeem, who I'll introduce to you in just a moment. So let me very briefly dispatch of the SG report and items. In terms of the Secretariat, obviously COVID made it impossible for us to move robustly forward with that. Wim, Rajib, and other colleagues from Nepal have that as part of their curriculum as far as their portfolio, and we're hoping in this next period that they can move forward more intensely on the idea of building an IPRA Secretariat than we were able to do during COVID. In terms of publications, you've heard from Roy, and I think you're aware of the amazing work that he and the publications grouping does. Publications grouping has expanded over the last 6 months, in addition to personnel, also in terms of the work. So we have Journal of Resistance Studies. We do have the collaboration with Peace and Change, which has not quite yet launched. Everything with these journals seem to move a little slower than we hope. But the first issue, joint issue, which is going to be papers from our January conference that a number of you have submissions to, will be published sometime in early 2022. and in general, the publications work is, I think, as strong as it's ever been. In terms of finances, I'll just say very briefly, we are not broke and we're not rich. So I'll just leave it at that. You know, we have work to do, of course, at the end of every year to get annual memberships. And as we build towards the Trinidad conference, the 2023 General Conference, there'll be special fundraising for that. We're very optimistic about the possibilities for raising money. And at the moment, we're about where IPRA usually is financially in terms of mid-conference, mid-year cycles. And last but not least, conference committee, I will not report on that because that's going to be an entire item on the agenda. I have never before in all of my decades in IPRA or many, many other professional associations seen as much excitement about a conference 2 years ahead of time. So I'm very excited. You'll hear about that in a minute. That's it as far as my working committee reports and SG report. Let us move now quickly to Polly. Polly, you sent out, I believe, to all of us on council. I hope maybe all the commissioners also got it. If not, you will get it now to the e-list. But please, Polly, take it away and walk us through some of the thoughts about the next step in terms of Indigenous peoples.
Okay, I would like to say that building on the support that we had at the last IPRA conference in the members meeting, we formed an Indigenous Peoples Working Group. I'm sure it will expand. At the moment, it includes Diana Marcela Argudello from Colombia, Carol Calafate, who's a Quechua woman living in New York, Kelite Maiharoa from Aotearoa, which some of you may know as New Zealand, Margot Tamez from Canada, and myself from the lands of the Sandia Pueblo in what is now called the United States. And we've worked together as a group over the last 6 or 7 months to create an articulation of what we think would increase Indigenous peoples' inclusion and integration into IPRA with the intent of decolonizing it. And we see ourselves in a transformative moment, and we'd like to transform peace and conflict studies. Too often, Indigenous peoples epistemologies and ontologies, their scholarship is marginalized from the wider field for a range of reasons. And as I go through, I'll just talk on the main themes from the statement and talk about how we see maybe those processes disrupting the exclusion and marginalization of Indigenous peoples and their knowledge systems. So we're first calling for engagement with the Indigenous peoples of the land where IPRA conferences and events are held, and we realize that will look quite different. If it's meeting, if the conference is meeting in Aotearoa, that's going to look quite different than say if it's meeting in Russia. But nevertheless, for the conference planning committee to make contact with Indigenous peoples of that land and to work in collaboration with them to see what kind of involvement they would like to have in that conference as the first peoples, welcoming people to the land, sharing the issues that are facing them, and building collaborations with members of IPRA. The second point that we thought would support peoples and help to decolonize the PAX field would be the creation of IPRA-supported Indigenous spaces, both physical at the conference and virtual at the conference and beyond. So many of our Indigenous epistemologies are based in relationship. Yet sometimes it's very difficult for us to find each other at the conferences, to build networks that would support our work. So we would like to see a physical space that could be small. It could be just, for one period of the day at lunch or in the morning. We're not asking for, something that's, that would detract from the work of other people, but hopefully that would support the work of other groups. But where young Indigenous scholars can find mentors and collaborators, both Indigenous and their allies, and where we can draw on our own epistemologies and ontologies without having to constantly explain them. So just that very welcoming meeting space. And then also we would like to explore the possibility of building a virtual space for people involved in peace and conflict studies, research, and activism. That has an Indigenous presence. And we have a good example from Kelite Maiharoa in Aotearoa. She's teaching a class with Maori students, and the interface on the Moodle site on the internet is all linked to Maori ways of knowing and being. And we would like to explore what that might look like. Obviously, it's more complicated for looking at, any Indigenous person or community around the world that wants to be involved, but would like to explore how we might use those virtual spaces, both in the time of COVID and beyond, to support Indigenous approaches to peace. And again, I'm also on the conference committee for the next IPRA conference. We would like to see the inclusion of Indigenous keynote speakers and presenters. And sometimes this might involve some financial support. One of the reasons that we have seen not as many Indigenous members of IPRA, not as many Indigenous presenters, is that sometimes with all their community obligations and the hardships that Indigenous communities are facing, the expense of traveling to an international conference and presenting may be prohibitive. And then we would also like to create events at the IPRA conferences, be they cultural, be there a fair where people could display their work and perhaps have their work for sale, could be very beneficial to some Indigenous communities. Again, this would be done in collaboration with those communities, but quite often one of the first intersections to build relationships would be around people's artwork, their activism work that they might want to present in a less formal way. And just again, for us to think about, I'm also on the fundraising committee for the conference, but to think about ways that we could build in financial support for Indigenous peoples to continue their work in the peace and conflict studies field in terms of engaging with IPRA. So happy it's, I don't know if this is a point in time to ask for questions or comments, because I know you have other things on the agenda, Matt, but we're most happy to engage with you. If you have questions or comments you want to send, I'll make sure they're all collated and shared with our next working group, Indigenous Peoples Working Group meeting.
Polly, let me thank you profoundly for that. It's a very good segue to the next agenda item, which we do have to get to on the conference. And I know some of you have to go already, and more will have to go in 10 minutes time. I want to say this by way of process. I think we just recently received that statement from the Indigenous Peoples Working Group. I think we need to look at it carefully. We need to share it on the website and on the emails and through the networks. We need to think about it and integrate the ideas and the perspectives in all of our regional and local work and association. And then I would suggest for a real time for Q&A and conversation, we need to pick a time, perhaps a future council meeting, where we invite Kelly and Carol and make sure that Margot can attend and others who have been involved in this work, so we can have a full conversation where you're not the only person on point. So I would suggest we not do Q&A now, but that we look forward to those opportunities in the future. Without further ado, it's not quite the last, because I'm going to do one little bookkeeping item that Rajib asked about at the very end. But the last substantive item on our agenda is to talk about the 2023 conference. It is rare indeed to talk about a conference 2 years in advance for us, and also equally rare to have as visionary and hardworking a scholar as Hakeem Williams to be joining us as a special guest today, who with me is co-chairing the 2023 conference effort. Hakeem, please introduce yourself and tell us everything we need to know about the Trinidad and Tobago festivities we are to look forward to.
Thank you, Matt. Greetings, everyone. Thank you for inviting me to your meeting. I will try to be brief. I'm Hakeem Williams, born and raised in Trinidad and Tobago, been in the United States about 23 years. I teach at Gettysburg College, a small liberal arts nestled amongst the battlefields of Gettysburg in the United States. So you can imagine we get all sorts of visitors and politicians trying to stake claim to that particular place. So peace and conflict and war is constantly a backdrop for all that I think and teach and research in Gettysburg and beyond. I am utterly excited to be co-chairing this enterprise with Matt. Matt and I have collaborated in several other spheres, and I just love his energy that he brings to this work. And I'm very excited that that you all approved the conference being held in Trinidad and Tobago in 2023. Thank you, Matt, for sharing the logo. That is a logo that we have come up with, and a little explanation. I don't know if you can see my my pointer, probably not since I'm not sharing, but that bird there is the hummingbird. Legend goes that the Trinidad, previously before Columbus renamed the island to Trinidad, was IPRA, which is an indigenous term for land of the hummingbird. And so if you all visit, I'm hoping that you'll be able to see several species of hummingbirds in Trinidad. And the circle here in Tobago, that is the steel pan, the national instrument that was created in Trinidad, created from old discarded oil drums during British colonialism. And this feather here, this vibrant feather, represents the syncretic vibrancy of the people, and especially the spirit of the carnivalesque. And so Trinidad is indeed, as many of you probably already know, such a confluence of not only historical processes of slavery, colonialism, and indentureship, but because of those legacies, rich cultural hybridities, not only from the indigenous peoples, African peoples, Indian, Chinese, Lebanese, Syrian, and a host of other influences. So 2 small islands, but rich in culture. And I think when you all come, you will not only have a rich academic experience, but also a rich cultural experience as well. We have been moving with great pace. The time is of the essence, although we have 2 years. I know that time will come upon us with great rapidity. And so there are several subcommittees that we have set in train, and they have already been doing their work. We have 2 local persons who have agreed to be co-chairs of the local committee. As you all know, for such conferences such as ours, that is really important. So we have secured their yeses. One of the co-chairs is Attila, who is a well-known cultural expert in Trinidad, and the other is Angelique Nixon, who is a professor at the University of West Indies. And so it's nice that we have an anchor in academia in Trinidad, but also an anchor in the sphere of culture and arts. The Call for Papers Committee, they have already drafted what I think is a wonderful first draft. It's focused on rooted futurities. Thank you, Matt, for sharing that. That right now is a tentative name, Rooted Futurities, Collective Visions of Peace and Justice Praxis. And it's really meant to summon our greatest creative, innovative energies around envisioning radical futurities, but not forgetting our rich histories. And so we're trying to merge both of those in this space. As a result, this conference will not only be for academics, but also activists, community leaders, artists, youth, you name it. Speaking of youth, we also have a youth engagement committee. I absolutely want to see youth taking up space at this conference. So our plan is to engage with as many youth organizations, not only across the Caribbean, but globally, and to potentially do some fundraising to get some of those groups to Trinidad. We know that the youth offer so many beautiful, rich visions of their own, and too often we tell them to sit back until it's their turn, and now is their turn. The state of our planet necessitates that youth are actively involved in sustainable futurities. We also have a culture and arts committee that will be meeting soon. We have a communications committee who they were tasked, members were tasked with creating the logo that you just saw there. We already have purchased a domain, IPRA2023.com, that we will soon be populating. And of course, we have several social media platforms awaiting us activating them. But you think of the usual suspects: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn. Our aim is to meet people everywhere that they are. And we have a sponsorship and finance committee. We haven't met us yet, but we will meet very soon. As you would imagine, that we have lots of money to raise if we want to put on as good a conference as possible. We are also starting to engage with several potential partners. We have a call today, Matt and I, a call with the head representative from UN Women for the Caribbean region. They're very excited about partnering with IPRA. So today they're meeting with us to hear more details before they sign the dotted line. And we're very close to securing an academic partnership with the Institute for Gender and Development Studies at the University of West Indies, because it's really important that we also have an academic anchor in Trinidad as well. The large planning committee met yesterday, and our plan is to meet every 3 months. And the intervening periods, as you can imagine, the subcommittees will be busy doing their work, and they will sort of report out at these quarterly meetings. The next meeting is December 9th at 10 a.m. So even if you're not on the committee, I'm sure Matt has already extended invitations to you if you just wish to pop in and get an update for yourself on what is happening with the conference. Please feel free to do so. And I think that is the extent of my report. I don't want to belabor you with any more of the minutiae, but of course, if you're interested, Matt and I are willing and able to share any more details that you may so desire. Thank you so much.
We do indeed, want to end on time in a couple of minutes, and we therefore will limit Q&A at this point. It is very exciting, and for those who have not been able to be involved or not expecting to be involved, because one often has gotten used to not having an opportunity to be too involved in the conference planning process, or at least to not have to think about that until just before the conference. That is not the case now. It's going to be a very robust, it's already been a very robust and engaged and interactive and democratic process, and one that has already begun. So please join it if you are interested. But I will ask you to do more than just in the chat, say a couple of final words about the question of timing, because our dear former Secretary General and President Ursula asked the key question. We are already ready to buy our tickets and come to Trinidad. I'm ready to leave New York and go tomorrow and take up residence for the next 2 years, if necessary. But in the meantime, give us a little sense about what's being discussed in terms of the timing of the conference.
Yes, we are deferring to the local committee in helping us decide the dates. They have tentatively settled somewhere between mid-May to the ending of May. They have looked at multiple things happening in the Caribbean and Trinidad and in the region that may coincide with potential dates in March and April, and so they sort of settled on May for now. We don't wish to go later than that, because then it is the rainy season, and we do not want to have a conference during the rainy season in Trinidad. That will not be fun. And so those are the tentative dates for now. We're not settled on it, but it'll most likely be in May. We're also eyeing January, but I think most likely it'll be May.
So we will obviously, that investigation looking at hotels and venues is happening right now. So we will certainly have, I would hope by the end of this calendar year, the exact dates and the exact venue in 2023. But don't book anything for May of 2023 because we have to have you in Trinidad, and that's the likely month it's going to be in. As it is now the top of the hour, I just want to say this final word. I am very mindful of two things about new commissions. One is that there's an entire process to go through, which I want to look at more carefully. And the other is that there's absolutely no reason not to move forward on positive energy. So Rajib, I would say those of you who have wanted to put together this new commission should proceed with our blessings and with our support, and with the idea that there will be a space at the Trinidad conference for that. What we need to do between here and there to make it an official IPRA commission, we will work out. I don't think we need to spend time here to make an official approval. If we need a council or general membership meeting official approval, we'll do that. But none of that should stop you from moving forward as of now immediately with convening the group, finding other supporters, and beginning to get a stream of papers and such of that grouping as we move towards Trinidad. So please thumbs up and move forward. We'll work out the official bureaucratic pieces of it as need be. My dear colleagues and comrades, this is an exciting and inspiring 2 hours. Very exciting to be together with you. It does say at the very end of the agenda, I put together next meeting date. Do we want to, it's not been always a usual thing for council to meet via Zoom more than once a year or maybe twice a year. Do people have a desire to look at 6 months from now or maybe at the end of the academic year? What is your pleasure, very briefly, in terms of next meeting? Vidar, please.
I find this very inspiring. I would like to meet again at the end of this semester or this side of the new year.
This side, so more like 3 months. I was going to maybe suggest the other side. We can because often for some of us, November and especially December gets very, very busy. But maybe in early January we can meet again and reflect upon how 2022 is going to be hopefully better than 2021. So is somewhere middle January good for many of you? Does that sound reasonable? Let me ask it the other way. Is there a problem? I see some thumbs up. Is there a problem that people have with January? And is Friday at this time a good time generally for folks? It seems good, and we had good attendance here. I'm going to ask one more question and then we'll be done for the day. Would meeting an hour later? See, usually I look to Shri and an hour later means, she has to stay up till the wee hours of the morning. But should we keep it at this time or do it a little bit later?
In January, I will be in Indonesia already. So I will be in the middle of the night, so I can keep awake.
Let's keep it. So let's keep it at this time and not try to do it later.
Okay.
And shall we look at the 14th of January? I don't know why I'm pulled to that date. Maybe because that is near the anniversary of the birth of Dr. Martin Luther King here in the U.S. So Friday, January 14th shall be our next meeting date. Between now and then, obviously many of us will be in touch with many of the work projects we're doing together. But as a whole, as a collective, allow me to close this meeting by saying peace, justice, love, and solidarity to all of you. Please stay safe and strong in this strange and difficult time period we still go through, and much solidarity and love. So be well. I call this meeting to a close.
Bye, everyone. Bye.
Bye, everyone. Take care.
Stay well.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Stay safe.
Manish, are you there? Manish,
Yeah.
Manish, hi. So nice to see you. I'll send you the info for the conference.
Okay, and thank you. I had received the message from your friend also.
Amit? From Amit?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
It's so nice for me to link people, to link colleagues in India. It's so nice for me to link. It's wonderful to have you working.
Sorry, dear friends, there is that last time we had tried, me and Maricom, that we had tried to have a collaboration through the ICSSR, but somehow our project was not accepted, but we can do it at our own level also.
Do it. He's a good person to work with. Yeah.
So we can take it as a way that we can do it at our own level also, and we can go for the publication.
Great. Great.
Yeah, and
Good luck with
IPRA.
that. It will be really
Yeah,
wonderful. He's wonderful. Both of you are wonderful. So it can be just a wonderful union, you see.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Have a good weekend, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone. Wonderful.
Bye, Matt. Thank
Matt,
you,
I
Matt.
will going to talk to you through WhatsApp.
Yes, indeed. Let's do that soon and set the specifics for October. I look forward to seeing you in person. I feel like I
Yeah.
have not given you a proper welcome to North America and the US.
That's fine.
But, no, it's still to come,
But I will be, actually, I have a plan to go to New York after overseeing the election in November, the
So
2nd of
in
November.
late November, December?
November, early November, after the 2nd.
November 2nd. Okay, let me.
After that. So November 2nd, I will be in Virginia for overseeing the local election, the gubernatorial election that will be held in November 2nd. And then I plan to New York on the 3rd.
So let me say this. How long do you want to stay in New York?
Only 1 or 2 days.
Okay, that's perfect because I'm supposed to go to Central Africa on the 4th or the 5th. But on the 3rd, I shall take you out. Well, on the 3rd, I shall take my whole day where we'll give you a righteous New York tour.
Wow, that will be great.
I think in some past life I was a tour guide. I do love my town. I don't like a lot about the U.S., but I love my my little New York
I
City.
love to be the guest.
All
And
right,
Olga, I also will going to reply to your call for the Moscow conference.
I have to say, one of my most difficulties.
Thank you.
I think Olga
Thank you,
knows
sir.
this already. One of the most difficult things about my schedule is I will not be able to be in Moscow for this conference. But hopefully in 2022, there'll be no stopping me. But I really wish to be at the Peace Education Conference. I'll be there virtually. But yes, okay, Shri, I'm putting
Virtually, yes. Yeah.
I'm putting November 3rd in my calendar.
Okay,
You
sure.
got my day, and then we'll talk soon about getting you to Wisconsin. And
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
All
Bye-bye,
right,
everyone. Have a
Thank
good
you.
day.
Lots
Have a
of
good
love.
evening. Bye.
Bye.